This is the urban city. Some are calling it a pot melting with people, but not all these pots here are people.
Human porcupines. Smile!
What is that?
What is what?
That!
Hello, bozos!
That's my good friend number 25, and that's me with a dark hair on.
Oh, urban input.
I know what your heads are thinking.
It's a Mitsubishi.
He looks like that robot in Short Circuit.
You mean this thing just runs by itself?
I am not equipment impresser-by. Average Joe. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Well, I won't mislead you on. He is the very same dude. Well, not exactly the same.
It's the all-new Johnny 5. I come with a utility pack, dozens of gadgets, road door living, lots of green pea stickers, and even my own Nike swoosh.
That thing is remarkable.
Hey everybody, it is RL, the Retro Pizza Guy, and welcome back to my channel of retro content, love, and pizza. Everything smashed together into a nice little Play-Doh connected dots. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's retro and I love it, so why not? Who knows what else I'm going to say next. So I have another retro movie review, another classic movie, this time from the late 80s, Short Circuit 2, a movie that I grew up and loved as a kid. And apparently I only review movies that I love. What's the point? The review's over. You know I love it, so just go see the movie. No, I'm gonna go into this review. And who knows, there might be some sections of this movie that I don't enjoy as well as other sections that I do enjoy. So let's get started. Visuals, music, acting, story, entertainment, replay value, favorite scenes, and final thoughts. So there's 8 categories, and anytime I have a category that I don't like, I take a slice of pizza to compensate, so I de-stress with my pizza. That's the reason why there is pizza on my plate. But then again, I am the Retro Pizza Guy, so I don't really have to explain it. It's self-explanatory. So let's get started with visuals. This is a very good movie in visuals. It's not something that's extraordinary. It looks like an amazing movie from the 1980s. It has a nice style to it. It took place, actually filmed in Toronto, so if you guys are from Toronto like I am, you will appreciate all the buildings that you recognize to this day. There's still some in the city. Not everything is brand new. So yes, visuals are nice. It's very well filmed. Love the style of the 80s. There's not a lot of, or any special effects. There are some special effects moments where Johnny 5 is flying, so they had to do something in effects-wise there, because it's a robot, and you gotta do something. You can't just have a robot fly. Now, maybe they did have a robot fly, but I'm just saying there's some effects. Visuals are really nice. It's not an amazingly stunning visual movie, but it does a job well. It's a movie from its era. It's still watchable. It doesn't look like a TV movie. That's how I look at visuals. If it doesn't look like a TV movie, it's great. It's nothing amazing. It's not a superhero movie with special effects, but visuals and special effects are different. Visuals get a retro like for me. Alright, moving on to the music. I love the music in this movie. It's not super famous music, like the greatest music, but man, it's really fun. Something like that. I don't know. I'm going to put the music cue. Clearly, I'm tone deaf, but I enjoy the music. Every time I play this movie and I hear the music, it brings me back to the 1980s. It is so subtle. It's amazing. I don't know who made the score, but it is such a really awesome, underappreciated score for a movie, because it doesn't get a lot of love. It's not Superman the movie. It's not Back to the Future. It's not something super epic. But man, the music just puts a smile on my face. It just works with this movie. It's perfect. It's just enjoyable. And I love it. So I am going to give it a retro love for music, because I really, really dig the music. And it just puts me into a 1980s vibe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this music in this movie, if you enjoy this movie. Oh, and of course, the track, I Need a Hero. It's a classic song. it's in this movie. It works so well. Alright, so moving on to the acting. The movie has some really good performances in this movie. It's not an Oscar performance movie because look, it's a movie that's kind of silly. It's a Johnny Five fantasy kind of movie. Robots don't really talk. They're not alive. But in this movie, you believe it's true because the character of Johnny Five is so electric, it's so dynamic. His voice and everything is perfect for this role. And I just love the acting. All the performances in this movie are believable, enjoyable, really great actors all around. Some famous actors, some not so famous actors. The guy who played Ben, he wasn't even Indian, but he convinced everybody that he was Indian. I know today they never would have done it. It is definitely so not politically correct. And look, it's the 1980s. What can I say? The guy who played Fred, Michael McKean, he was in the TV show Laverne and Shirley. Excellent comedic actor. Had a great role where you really believe that he's a slimy guy who just wants to look out for himself and make money, but by the end of the movie you really like his character. He has a great character arc. Really enjoyed his performance. The guy who played Oscar, Jack Weston, famous actor, always played the grumpy kind of angry guy who's a villain. Did it really well. He was in Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn. Loved him in that movie. 1967, I believe. You know, great actors in this movie. Sandy, the love interest of Benjamin, she was really earnest and honest in this movie. I really enjoyed her character. Very lighthearted, fun, you know, liked music and everything, and really likable character. I really liked the dynamic with her and Benjamin. He has a crush on her, and that's how the story gets started, really, with this crush on this girl and having to make these little robots, and she works for this company that tries to find these toys, and she finds this toy that's really amazing and she wants to make them, and it's really fun little character development going on there with the story, and the acting is really great. I really like all the actors in this movie. I enjoy it, and the acting got the job done. It was fun acting, so I give acting a retro love for me. Alright, so moving on to story. A basic story, a fish out of water kind of story. You know, the first movie, he becomes alive, Johnny Five. The second movie, he's back and he gets shipped to his friend Benjamin. And so basically the story is about them teaming up together, finding a factory, trying to get employees, and then underneath their factory are these villains led by Oscar who are trying to dig a tunnel into the vault to get these Vanderbilt collection that are worth millions and millions of dollars. And they find out that there's people upstairs. They have to kick them out. They try to kick them out. They try to destroy their everything. But Johnny Five foils it. But basically, Oscar is a total douchebag. And you find out later on in the movie that he's an evil guy. The story is, you know, it's basic story. But it's a fun movie. It's a fun story. So I enjoy it. I give the story a retro-like for story. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's really about Johnny Five trying to get input. It's really just a robot that loves input. It's a fun story. It gets a retro-like. Entertainment next. I guess I reviewed entertainment because I just said it was fun. But it's an entertaining movie, as I just said. Very entertaining. I love it. It's just a nostalgia trip for me. It's fun. It's an enjoyable movie. I really liked it more than the first Short Circuit movie, because the first Short Circuit movie felt very isolated in a small town. The second one really amped it up, and it just felt bigger, larger, more entertaining, as I said. And I really loved it. Like, there's so many great scenes in this movie. There's a scene where he's flying out of the building. Johnny Five skydives out because Fred was trying to sell him, and he's like, I'm not property, Fred, I'm alive. And he's like skydiving. He gets depressed. He goes into a bookstore, the world's biggest bookstore, which is no longer anymore in existence. It was in Toronto, and they tore it down many years ago. Sadly, it was a major iconic store, but it's not there anymore. But it's still in this movie, so you can appreciate it like I appreciate it. I love the scene in that bookstore where he reads every single book. He's such a fast reader, Johnny Five. He showed that in the first movie, that he reads like crazy. He could read a book in 2 seconds flat. Like, I wish I could read a book in 2 seconds flat. But sadly, I cannot. It takes me at least 2 hours to do that. Or depending on the book, it might even take 2 days. Kind of like this video review where it's taking me forever to finish. So anyways, moving on. There's other scenes that I really love. One other scene is the scene where these hoodlums are stealing car radios, and Johnny Five sees them. They think Johnny Five is going to turn them in, and basically Johnny Five, he's so naive, he's so childlike that he ends up helping these guys, these villains, these hoodlum guys who are in a gang, and he ends up stealing every single car radio in the whole block. And it was a funny scene, and sadly Johnny Five never gets retribution. He never gets them back. They don't get punished. They don't go to jail. But I guess that's not the point of this movie. It's a fun romp of a movie. Nobody goes to jail except for Johnny Five in this movie. So entertainment gets a retro double love. I just love this movie. It's so entertaining. It's so fun. Puts a smile on my face every time I watch it. So that is my score. Double love for entertainment. So replay value is next. And you know what? I could watch this movie over and over again. I haven't seen it in many years, but as I'm reviewing this, I kind of want to watch it again. I've seen it so many times, and I can watch it back to back to back. It's just entertainment. It's so much fun. It's got so much replay value. It's just a fun, innocent movie. It's not something that's like super awesome. I'm sure there's some reviews it got back in the day where it was average or bad, but you know what, it's just reminds me of my childhood. It's obviously a nostalgia trip, but it's still a fun movie. There's so many movies from my childhood that I can't watch this day and age because I just outgrew it. I just can't watch it. This movie, it's still as fun as I remembered it. It's just puts a smile on my face, so I can watch it again and again and again. So replay value gets a retro double love again. I'm loving this movie. Such an amazing movie. So moving on to my favorite scene in the movie. The scene that I really love the most is the scene when Benjamin and Fred get locked in a freezer. It's such a funny scene, and they're trying to find a way out, and Benjamin, being this tech-savvy guy, was able to make a Morse code, and he's able to call the girl he likes, Sandy, and put a Morse code, and she's able to decipher it because she loves music, and they do these musical codes kind of thing. Not Morse code, but it's like musical codes. And then Sandy gets into taxi, and with the taxi driver, they have this really cool scene where they're trying to decipher these codes from code to songs and figure out which songs they are. It's very clever, it's really fun, and it's just a great scene. That's my favorite scene in the movie. So favorite scenes, I don't know, can I score favorite scenes? I'm just going to give it a retro love for favorite scene, even though I don't think you could rate that. It's a favorite scene. How do I rate a favorite scene? I guess it's my favorite, so it's obviously going to be a love. So you know what? Moving forward, I'm not rating favorite scene. But this time, it's the first time I'm going to rate it. So moving on. Final thoughts. You know, this movie is just a time capsule of a movie from the 1980s, late 80s, came out in 1988. It is just so much fun. I recommend you watch this movie. You know, I wish they would make a Short Circuit 3. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but who knows? They might. It's one of those movies that's kind of like faded into time, and not many people remember this movie from this generation now. It's not a popular franchise. It's not a Marvel movie. It's not a superhero. It's not a major IP. but it is still a very, very fun movie and a fun time, a different era. The 80s were a different era. You know, they can make this movie again. They can do it, but I just don't think it would be done as well as it was done in the 1980s. You know, I just think a lot of movies nowadays, they just don't have nostalgia. They don't have the feel of the 1980s. There's always some kind of agenda attached to it. Look at Indiana Jones. It's in a dial of crappiness. You know, that movie just was such a huge disappointment. You know, just sometimes you think, well, just keep these movies in the time when it was created. I still believe they could make a good remake if the person, director, the studios, or whoever's in charge really enjoys and loves this franchise. They could do it justice. It can be done. It's just it's very hard to do. Look at Ghostbusters, the last Ghostbusters movie. It just wasn't the same. It's not the same humor. It's not funny. It's not like it was back in the 1980s. It's just not the 80s anymore. So, on that note, I'm not scoring final thoughts. I'm just moving on and saying that's my review of Short Circuit 2, and I will review other classic movies from different eras. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this movie. Did you watch this movie? What's your favorite Short Circuit movie? There's only 2, but what is your favorite? Leave a comment below, down below, and I will have more retro content, modern content, and pizza content, and video game content in the weeks, months, and years to come. Bye for now.